All right, so I'm a big believer in the double sleeve grip against bigger people, and we're going to talk about 3 options that we have from there. The first one's going to be kind of a drop. It's a sleeve throw. In Judo, they call it sode tsurikomigoshi. Let's take a look here. So again, for my gripping strategy, I'm gonna move here. The hand comes in. It doesn't matter where. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to go here. 2 things can happen. I can just reach out and grab this, which happens a lot of times. Or maybe he grabs my collar, and I want to just grab just like that. Kind of like this. He grabs the collar. And I'm not worried too much about breaking this. I can almost do it kind of like a wrist lock, not really, but I can just turn my body and bring my elbow underneath, and I can kind of pop it off, and then I can kind of reset and I keep it off. And so,
yeah, it bends my wrist back.
Definitely. It's not going to like submit you, but it definitely makes you want to let go. So once I take that off, boom, when I'm here, it's very difficult for him to do anything. If he does any sort of like double leg or something like that, I just stiff arm. He's not going to get close to me. He can't do any kind of judo type takedown because he doesn't have his grip. And even pulling guard is difficult because he can't really pull me into him because he doesn't have a grip. So the first thing I do is going to be like the sleeve off the throw. So what I want to do here is look. I'm going to take a step and I'm going to spin. I'm going to show the feet first. It looks like this. 1, 2. Now what's really important about that is no matter how fast, Stephan, that someone can do this, it's too slow. No matter how fast you can do it, it's too slow. What you have to do is both knees hit the ground at the same time. So when I step, when this foot spins, it's kind of like whipping my body around, but these toes don't hit the mat. Look, bam. One more time. So, just like that. Now I coordinate the hands. What I want to do with the hands is I'm gonna pull and turn underneath, taking this arm over my shoulder. So I'm pulling over the shoulder. I like to do this technique mainly by going to the knees, but it's available on the feet too, which I'll demonstrate in a little bit. So back to here, I get my feet set. Now I have to coordinate my hands and my feet. So when I take a step, I'm going to pull. And then I spin and I turn this way. And now I'm just going to bring up and take him right over his shoulder this way. Because he doesn't have his hands free, it's really hard for him to base. Now, we have to be careful with this technique because of what I just said. He doesn't have his hands to base. And if the guy doesn't know how to fall, or if he's not comfortable with takedowns, you can definitely have some injuries to the shoulder, to the head. People will face plant sometimes. So it's best to work this technique with somebody who's skilled in falling and takedowns. When you go to a tournament, even though I'm not trying to hurt somebody out there, but that's more their responsibility than my responsibility. I'm going to try to do my technique, and if my opponent gets hurt because he was unprepared, I'm not going to feel good about it. I'm not going to necessarily feel bad about it. You know what I mean? It was kind of his responsibility to get ready. But in training, I'm always trying to look out for my training partners and make sure everybody is safe. Let's take a look one more time. So again, from the strategy, 1, 2, 3. Let's just say I just grab it right out of the air. Easy. Happens a lot of the time. Once I get here, I want to pull up as I step. So I step, I pull, and now I'm going to spin and direct his arms at the same time. I can go to knee on stomach. A lot of finishing position. Arm lock is going to be available for attack as well. Okay, so like I mentioned before, there's also a standing version of this throw. It's a great technique. Nothing wrong with it. I personally had more success with the dropping version. But I want to show you the standing just so you can, if it's available for you, you can definitely utilize it. So it looks the same. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to grab this right out of the air. Or remember, if he grabbed, I could break that off first. Bringing my arm underneath, turning my hip, boom. Now I'm going to get back to my place here. So on this one, I might pull him down a little bit, which is going to prompt him to pull up. So when I'm here, I'm going to pull up. I'm going to step in between his legs here. And I'm going to pivot this way, and my hip goes across. I take him right over.
Brandon, people are going to look at that dropping move and they're going to say, aren't you exposing your back? It doesn't feel like it can take your back, but could you go into that a little bit of what your options are if you blow the throat? It doesn't work.
Definitely, and that's a great question, and I'm sure it was on a lot of people's minds. And the idea is there's kind of two answers. Okay, one, no matter what attack you make, you're going to be vulnerable to a counterattack. That's how the nature of the game works. Two, that's another reason that I like the double sleeve grip. A lot of people will do throws from the collar, and they'll drop, just like this. Yeah, exactly. And I'm basically just putting him on my back. And again, I don't think those throws are bad if you know what you're doing and you have a really strong game there. Some people will attack this way with this kind of grip. But again, this leg comes over, this arm is free. Yeah, some bad things can happen. So that's another reason why I gravitated toward this double sleeve grip. Not only can I keep the big guy's power and weight away from me, but let's say I get in there, right? Bam. And let's say he just throws the, can you put your hooks on? Here. Yeah. Because I have the sleeve, look, his arms are crossed up. It's easy for me to move into this kind of escape here, where I'm controlling, I'm prying off, and look, I can turn this, actually, I hope he doesn't do that bravo choke that we're going to do later. Here, this way, or I just, I come into this position, and I still get the takedown as long as it's a continual motion.